Howdy and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. Today we're going to be doing a walkthrough of one of these gardens here. We got some cool plants behind me like this Acer olive Ram hot blonde. And I got my son Waylon in the backpack here. Waylon is having to wait a second to go to his grandmother's home for Mr. Maple's mama. And the original Mr. Maple, we're taking care of him later today, but he's riding in the backpack and part of this walkthrough since he's here. Acer olive Ram. This is hot blonde. This is our introduction, part of the Heat Seeker series. Now, it is bright yellow. It's got an orange border around it, but it gets more and more bright yellow as the season goes on. Right now it's a yellow-green. Fall colors are oranges to reds. It leaves out late, and it's part of our Heat Seeker series because it can handle a lot of heat and a lot of sunlight. Guys, this is an amazing member of our Heat Seeker series that has that superpower from the Acer olive Rams that just makes it durable, easy to grow, an amazing tree for the garden. Guys, we're MrMaple.com, a family mail order business. We ship directly to your door, and we do over 1,000 varieties of Japanese maples. If you're looking for something like this, you can often find it on MrMaple.com. Make sure you subscribe here on the Mr. Maple Show. We do thousands of varieties of Japanese maples. We actually do about 1,500 different varieties, the largest selection in the United States. Back here, y'all, I've got Acer Palmatum Kenpei. This is a sport, maybe some sort of broom-like mutation because the sport makes it denser and compact. That was found on Osakazuki by Taka Tanaka at Tsukasa Maple. It's unique because it has a elongated leaf with thinner lobes than Osakazuki. The lobes are much thinner, but you actually see some red variegation around the edge. That gives it something very special, something very different. It still has that bright fire engine red fall color that Osakazuki has, often going to the maroon first, then picking up to that bright orange red in the fall. But as you can see, it has a shorter, denser, compact stature, typically reaching 5 to 6 feet in height, about 5 to 6 foot in width in 10 years. Now over here are two different Acer Japonicums. Both these are known for having really neat blushes in the spring. Orange Fan over here has an orange blush in the spring and then goes to a bright orange in the fall. We see a little bit reminiscent of that orange on some of this new growth right now, but really, we've leafed out and been in leaf for over a month. Orange Fan, oddly enough, leafs out faster than Blushing Beauty. Orange Fan, a selection by Talon Buchholz, has a rounder leaf. Blushing Beauty, found by Ed Shen of Wall, New Jersey, has a more elongated leaf and has more of that peachy blush to it. And it actually leaves out a little bit later, and you can still see some of that peachy blush on some of this new growth on Blushing Beauty. Both comparable sizes, typically 6 to 8 foot in 10 years. Both have amazing fall colors. But again, the difference is Blushing Beauty will have a little bit more of like a coral pink blush, where this one has more of an orange blush. And this one has Blushing Beauty has more of an elongated leaf, where Orange Fan has a more rounded foliage. We plant them side by side to compare them because, you know, they're both unique Japonicums that have a blushing-like appearance. Definitely some cool trees right here on this side of the garden. Now, let's come back here and talk about a dogwood for a second. This is a really amazing dwarf witch's broom mutation on a Cornish, Florida that was found by Plant Man. You may have seen in our video on how to prune a coral bark Japanese maple, where he has one of the best Bihu Japanese maples in the world. This was a witch's broom that he found and brought to us to graft for him. That's Elton Lyles. This thing is amazing. It's actually a very prolific bloomer, and it blooms before the leaves come out. So it's actually past the blooms right now. But man, as you can see, the density and small stature of Canis minimus, which means little dog. Think about it being a little dogwood. I think that's a fun name for this tree. Fits in small places in the garden with a denser, compact habit. Definitely something that's kind of unique and special that we offer from time to time on Mr. Maple. Now, over here, we have Dulce, a rarer selection by Talon Buchholz. Originally, Dulce was a variegated seedling, and there's not much variegation left on this one. This one had a little bit of variegation when we bought it down at the very base. We'll probably cut this tree back a little bit, see if we can see some variegation popping off, but there's not really, it's got a unique leaf to it, like a Matsumori style leaf, but there's none in the trade today that I know of that actually have the variegation like it's supposed to. So I'd love to cut this one back and get it to have the variegation, which is like pink and white, on top of this smaller Matsumaria that has coral pink new growth. Definitely something that's pretty cool. Now guys, right here, I've got Acer Palmatum Pastel. Pastel is a seedling that has, let's say, amber ghost-like qualities, but it's more pastel overall. It's got an upright shape. It's fairly heat tolerant. It has really light pastel color. So instead of those deep ambers that amber ghost has, you get some really light pinks. Some strong reticulation that holds long throughout the season with some light pastel pinks and some greens in there and some pastel creams. Pastel has some amazing red fall color as well, making it a really beautiful upright member of those like new ghost-like trees that Talon Cults introduced after he introduced the Ghost series. This one's got a good upright form though, and has really proven to us to be really beautiful. The new growth, I don't know, you can't see it up here, but these have some really nice pastel pinks you can really appreciate from even from underneath. Really an underrated tree that I think more people need to be growing. Guys, right here is Acer Palmatum Dissectum Zig Zag, a selection from Talon Buckholz. It was a lace leaf that he said went this way and that way, so it zigzagged around. It definitely hooks around quite a bit on its umbrella cascading habit. It's got a little bit of a almost like purple-like stemming to it, and then it's got some really nice green foliage that's heavily dissected. It's got that umbrella cascading habit. Definitely a really cool selection by Talon Buckholz. He introduced this about the same time he was introducing many of those new ghosts. So we got a hold of it, and we've had it, been sitting back on it for a few years. Definitely a cool Japanese maple to have in the garden as well. Now, there's a few more trees in this on this side of the garden. Then we'll hit up the other side and come back around because there's a bunch of awesome plants here. You know what comes stand over here, Corbin? Right here is Acer Palmatum Usu Midori. What I love about this plant is it is yellow. In the spring, it has a little bit of a red border. It's like a yellow aminum though, so it has a little bit larger leaf. During the summer, it'll get a yellow, like blushing across it too, like a bright yellow bleach blushing. This thing is pretty awesome. I need to give it more in production. I need to get more in production for sure. But this is one of my favorite yellows in the trade. It's just different from everything else. It needs protection from the hot afternoon sun. So don't try to give it full sun. It does not like full sun. It will burn quite a bit. But with some protection from the hot afternoon sun, this thing can get that yellow bleach late in the summer that really makes this tree shine. I think this is a really fun Japanese maple that we'll be doing here at more at MrMaple. Black here, guys, we've got a really nice black hole. You sort of see what makes black hole special. We recently shot a Cultivar highlight on this, so hopefully it'll be airing sometime soon. But this has reticulation on it, almost like a purple ghost type. A little bit darker colors, but one of the things that makes black hole stand out from all the other like purple styles is the fact that it has a shorter multi-stemmed type appearance. It's got some really dense habit overall, and just that multi-stemmed appearance really gives it something for the landscape and garden. I think if you're looking for a shorter purple ghost, if you're looking for a shorter, something that's like that dark ghost, this is what you want. It doesn't make a tree form. It's very multi-stemmed, gets as wide as it does tall. It's definitely a fun tree to have out in the garden and a cool tree to pair with the yellow, like we were just showing you that Usu Midori. Well guys, we're gonna start hitting up some of these plants on this side of the garden now, because so you can sort of see some cool selections. This is Allen's Gold. Allen's Gold leaves out as a bright orange in the spring. After that, it goes to a yellow green. Now, if we had this tree in full sunlight, you'd see a lot more of that yellow green. We're under an oak canopy, and again, we're filming this in mid-April where trees have been in the leaf for over a month. If this was in sunlight, you would still see a lot of bright yellow green on this foliage. But that spring color on this of being that bright orange is one of the best spring interest trees. But guys, the thing that makes Allen Gold special is it develops pine bark. And as you can see here, it gets more rigid. It's slower than Nishikigawa and Arakawa, but it does develop that pine bark that gives it that age-like appearance. And you see the ridges just forming on some of these branches. It is the best spring interest pine bark to date. It's the first that has an orange appearance. Nishiki Yamato that Masayoshi Yano introduced had a little bit of bronze for a short period of time. The orange on this lasts for a few weeks like Katsura or Winayama. So I would compare it to those in its spring color, but maybe more intense and brighter. But the fact that this is a pine bark as well, you get two awesome traits in one tree that just really make this tree pretty spectacular. Allen's Gold, pretty awesome plant. Now, y'all, right here, we've got Acer Palmatum Nanasegawa. Nanasegawa is a selection that was given to our attention by Elizabeth Mundy at Acer Acres. We'd already gotten Shiranami from her, and she said, you know, you all seem to like some of these cultivars that are old that no one else has. You also check out Nanasegawa. And it's pretty awesome. It's a little bit wider spreading than something like a Moriyama. It goes to oranges and reds in the fall instead of yellows and oranges like a Moriyama does. It really has a strong spreading out and weeping habit. An older cultivar from Japan, not many people know. We do offer from time to time here at MrMaple. Definitely a pretty cool selection. Now, right here, we got a cool one. This is a selection by Mr. Masayoshi Yano, or Yano-san, who was a friend of ours who wrote the book on Japanese maples in Japan. This is a Matsumuri that he really liked that was at a temple in Kyoto. And he put the name of Kaga Kujaku. I know that Kujaku means peacock. I'm not so sure what Kaga means. But what this tree does is it goes up and it has a semi-pendulous nature. It goes from really nice shades of yellows and oranges in the fall. This is a rare selection from a temple in Kyoto in Japan by the guy who wrote the book on Japanese maples that's half in English, half in Japan, half in Japanese in Japan. Pretty awesome, pretty cool to see a rare plant like this. Down here we've got a really unique rare Acer shirasawanum. This is Acer shirasawanum Suzanne. Suzanne is likely, I would guess, a hybrid with Pseudosubuldianum and Acer shirasawanum because it has a very pointed and very round textured foliage. This goes to yellows and oranges in the fall. It's got a nice rounded habit to it. The habit is something similar to like a shirasawanum aureum or golden full moon maple. I do think this will be able to handle more sun than aureum because it does have that green foliage rather than the yellow. But a rare selection that you don't see too frequently in the trade. We're one of the first people in the United States to be able to be offering this. Over here, we've got one of my favorite trees that I'm trying to get more and more in production. We had a limb that actually fell down from one of these trees and broke off one of the branches early on this tree, or it probably had a more rounded shape to it. This is Acer Palmatum Elwa, a selection by our good friend Bart Eikemans. Bart and Marielle Eikemans, we made good friends with through the Maple Society. Marielle has been the treasurer for years at the Maple Society, the treasurer and secretary, and really done a great job of really getting the booklets out to everybody, doing a good job of managing finances, keeping our nonprofit status. She was the secretary treasurer when I was president, when Matt was president, and she's currently the secretary treasurer right now during the presidency term right now as well. Y'all, this is an amazing plant from Port Angeles, Washington, named after the Elwa River there in Washington. It has a really cool spreading out habit. One of the things that I think is really awesome is the fall color on this. It can really give you some nice shades of yellows infused with oranges, all different colors. It is spectacular on that fall color. To me, it's kind of like a low spreading elegance. Elegance has a very similar Matsumuri leaf that grows into a tall tree. This one spreads out and has some really fun spreading out habit and great fall colors. One of the other things that's really awesome, and I'll have to get them to get in here and show you this color, is the spring color, because you can get some really nice pink reds, and you can see that some here on some of this new growth right now, some of this pink red color, but the entire tree when it first leaves out is that pink red. It is pretty awesome, pretty intense, and it's so different than what it looks like the rest of the year. My manager at my Buckholtz farm, Joel Johnson, messaged me earlier and said, is this Elwa? Is this correct? Because it looks so beautiful and so intense at our Buckholtz farm. I was impressing him with the spring color. And it's so cool. You get that spring color, then you get this green on the spreading out habit, and then that amazing fall color that I think makes this tree stand out selection. Now, Corbin, if you'll go over here for a second, you can sort of see the shape of this lace leaf. This is Acer Palmatum Dissectum English lace. What I like about English lace is it has a more upright habit. Yes, it develops such lateral branching. Yes, it develops some weeping habit over time. If you stake this up at an early age, it has a really nice upright habit. It is vigorous. It gets to be one of the biggest red lace leaves out there in your garden. Think of it as a red version of Germain's gyration, if you're thinking of Germain's gyration's growth habit. Not necessarily the contorted habit, but the vigorousness, the size of it. Give it some room in the garden, stake it up at an early age, and then let it go upwards, and it'll go up and arch out and fill out. We do have a cultivar highlight of this, of a larger specimen in Washington where we shot when the Maple side was visiting a garden. Go check out our cultivar highlight on English lace if you want to see more of that. I'm telling you, this is a really cool lace leaf. If you got room for it, this can be a focal point planting. Guys, down here we got Mayday. Now, Mayday is a selection by Talon Buckholtz that leaves out as a coral pink. The coral pink then fades to a blonde. And we see a little bit of blonde up top, but because this is in such a shaded environment under these oak trees, you don't see as much as you possibly would. Sunlight will really intensify, and on top of that, these trees have been in leaf for over a month here in the gardens here. But this thing is beautiful, dense compact habit, slow grower. It's one of the quickest trees to sell out on Mr. Maple when we list it because people love having that blonde version of a Makawa Yatabusa. Again, it leaves out coral pink, but then it goes to that blonde. People sometimes will confuse it with Japanese princess. It's easy to distinguish the two because Japanese princess has a twisting leaf where Mayday has a flat leaf like Makawa Yatabusa. So if someone has thought that they might have gotten a mislabeled tree, typically they haven't. So keep that in mind, that the colors may be deceiving some years, but the leaf never tells a lie. Here with Acer Japonicum Vitifolium. This is a classic maple that has a Latin name to it. So it's not as popular as some of the ones that have, more Americanized names. But the leaf is large, and it's one of the larger rounded foliage Japanese maples. It goes to a really nice bold orange in the fall, and it can get some yellows and reds late, but it's primarily known for having a bold orange fall color. It'll end up getting about 8 to 10 foot in 10 years. It's fairly vigorous. It is beautiful though. And these large leaves just continue to stun, giving a real tropical-like appearance. It's a pretty cool selection that I think you should definitely try out. Vitifolium, again, doesn't have the best name. A lot of trees when they went to Europe from Japan got Latinized names. So when you hear things like Palmatifolium, Vitifolium, you hear those Scolopendrifolium, all those things that sound like diseases, that's Latin. When they went to Europe, originally they had some Japanese names likely in Japan, and then they got Latinized names whenever they went to Europe. It'd be really cool to know what the original names were on something like Vitifolium, but it's so ingrained in the nursery trade today as Vitifolium, it'd be hard to change it at this point. Now, right here, y'all, we've got Acer Palmatum Shojo Nomura. Dancing red-faced monkey, I believe, is what this stands as. It is a deep purple-red upright Japanese maple with large leaves. These leaves are a little bit larger. They look a little pumped up if you look at the leaf. Like literally, the leaves cut down a little bit slightly, just a little bit, and twist a little bit. This is a fun, deep, dark red Japanese maple for the landscape, and it's something that's not your traditional red upright, but it gives you some really nice colors out there. Now, right here we have Acer shirasawanum Ayagasa. Another one from Europe that's extremely rare in the trade today. But what this one is it literally is really more of that green version of shirasawanum aureum. It has the most rounded leaf, perhaps even more rounded than aureum itself. Almost that cartoon-esque leaf for what we think of a Acer shirasawanum. If If you saw one of our other walkthroughs of the other side garden, if it has aired yet, we talked about Moon Shadow having that cartoon-like leaf for a Acer amenum. This one has a cartoon-like leaf for an Acer shirasawanum. It goes to yellows, oranges, and reds in the fall, so it gives you a mixture of different colors. And it is easy to grow. It'll end up getting about 6 to 8 foot in 10 years. Love the rounded habit on this. Each leaf has a very high, large amount of lobes. This particular one, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lobes. That makes that perfectly more rounded shape that is so beautiful out here. That's just a fun Japanese maple. Newer selection from Japan. And is real popular in Europe, just hadn't really hit much. Here we've got a selection by, we have Father Waters, a selection by Bob McCafferty. Dense compact red. You know, we've got this in production. It's got that deeper maroon color. It appears right now to have a more columnar shape, something akin to something like a Jerry Schwartz, but you know, that's still to be determined. We'll have to grow this out, compare it with the production off of it, and see if the grafts off of this continues that same style shape. But it has a really nice form to it, and some good cherry reds and maroons. Now, back here, I got to show you this because this is a really cool Pseudosubuldeanum X Japonicum back here. I would say the leaf is most closely to that Suzanne we talked about up front, but this is considered a Acer Pseudosubuldeanum X Japonicum that was found by Piet de Jong. He wrote the Flowering Section Expression in Acer in 1973, where you can learn about how maples flower and how they breed. It's a cool thesis. It's a long, very in-depth. Nowadays, you'll have to stop, Google a lot of the words in there to understand the plant terminology. I did, and I have a plant background. But this is called Osiris. Now, there's a couple forms that I've seen of Osiris out in the trade. I think one of them may actually be Hazelcus. But this one is really awesome. This is the true form, and it gives immaculate fall color. And it has been thought by many of the botanists in Europe to believe to be a Pseudosubuldeanum X Japonicum, which is something pretty cool. Behind me, I've got Prunus Kojo no Mei. This is a cherry tree that has pink and white blossoms on the same tree, and a twisting branching. You will notice the branches twist back and forth. Very different than your typical cherry tree. Here we've got Edna Bergman. And this is one of my favorite trees on this side of the garden. The springtime, you get some intense pink reds like we see down here. And again, this tree's been in leaf for over a month. And we're starting to get emerald greens in here with a little bit of maroon highlights. You know, that's nice with some almost purple edging to it. That's okay. What is amazing about this tree is the fall color. It has some of the most intense, bright red fall colors of any maple. And the shape is very unique too. As you notice, the branches arch outward. They don't go straight upward. And so it has this real mounding-like effect on the tree. This is a selection from Rara Flora Nursery. They were in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. And are actually, when they were going out of business, it's one of the reasons why Billy Schwartz, who found Shayna, who's Shayna's daughter's named after, he's found a lot of other witches' brooms like Judy Girl Broom. He was the lawyer selling off their property and got into maples because of Rara Flora Nursery. Rara Flora Nursery has introduced many conifers and many maples. If you hear the name Bergman on a tree or Rara Flora, that came from Rara Flora Nursery. Bonnie Bergman, Barry Bergman, and Edna Bergman. And to me, this is one of my favorites of the Bergman selections. It's classic. Its shape's unique. It has great spring color, and then it has phenomenal fall color. Y'all, this has been one of our walkthroughs of this side garden. It's at one of my parents' house in mid-April of 2026 to show you some of the spring colors a month and a half out after they've leafed out. But we appreciate y'all joining in and so we can show you some specimens and how trees grow in the landscape and garden. Hopefully this gives you some idea of how they could look in your garden and showed you some classics and some things you may have never heard of that you may be looking for on MrMaple.com. Y'all remember to shop with us and also make sure to subscribe here on the Mr. Maple Show. We really appreciate y'all so much. Take care, God bless, and have a great day.